Occasionally, as Riot works on all the different games rooted in the League of Legends universe, be it accidentally or on purpose, they reveal something cool. And over the years I learned that most of the times, unless it comes from the core lore team, which these days is more like a ghost working from the shadows, the teams of the different games don't realize just how big their reveals are. And only yesterday, 2XKO showed us something amazing. Throughout the last month, on their social media, 2XKO has been releasing some videos from behind the scenes. Sometimes it is a small talk about the arena designs, and sometimes it is a small talk about the champion designs. These are all very valuable, because remember, ever since the lore change happened, everything that comes from the League of Legends universe, unless it just directly comes from gameplay, should be canon. And of course, as all of these kept rolling out, EVO happened multiple times, and so now we have some footage of gameplay from all of those who attended. And now, 2XKO started releasing their own gameplay reveals. With the first video, which funnily enough is only the third video on their official channel, being about Illaoi. Now, normally, I don't think this video would be worth covering for me, since my audience is not really that into the fighting game genre. But then, Riot decided to drop something amazing in the middle of it, which most people don't even realize is so amazing. So first, let's quickly rush through the video to see what it shows us from the gameplay, and then let's get into the big reveal. It all starts with Caroline, who is a game designer on 2XKO. Here she introduces Illaoi, a new playable champion that will be available for the first time at EVO Japan. At the beginning, she gives us a bit of an introduction into Illaoi's lore, which most of you should be familiar with. They call Illaoi the prophet of Nagakabouros, though we can simply just call her the high priestess of Buru. And of course, her entire theme is about staying in motion, just as Nagakabouros demands. Because Nagakabouros is the god of motion. In other words, no matter what you do, you have to learn, adapt, evolve, and just keep on living. The moment you settle down for a comfortable life, Nagakabouros may not deem you worthy of life anymore. And in the case of Illaoi, she is using her golden totem to channel the will of Nagakabouros to test her opponents to see if they are worthy of living. The awesome thing about all of this is that this theme is heavily tied into her gameplay. So here we learned that Illaoi is all about pressing forward. She has big, slower hits that deal big damage. And then she uses her tentacles to wrap up her combos and lock people down. In fact, the tentacles are her core mechanic. She can spawn the tentacles with one attack and then she can trigger them for a follow-up attack. But besides that, she has also plenty of attacks that would allow her to activate the tentacles from range. Now, apparently, when designing her, the team didn't want Illaoi to be kind of a puppet master. But they also didn't want the tentacles to be just a visual passive part of her attacks. And that's why they went for something in between. See, because the tentacles spawn on a successful attack, they are more of a reward for playing well, which also pushes you into playing in motion. And that ties her back into the main theme. The weakness is that, just as it happens in League, your opponents can attack your tentacles to destroy them, which essentially just takes away a part of your combo. Speaking of which, this is a tag team fighter, so she also has some awesome assist combos. When she tags in, you can immediately perform a slam, and if there is a tentacle nearby, you can immediately activate it. She also has an assist that knocks the enemy up for an air combo, and with Last Stand, even if she is KO'd, she can use her super ability. And this is where they show us something amazing. So, let's talk about Illaoi's supers. Her basic super is the Slam, which we have seen in bunch of gameplays before. In fact, this is the ability that Riot used for the transition when they revealed the 2XKO name. Then, her S2 super is similar to what she has in League. She simply summons the wrath of Nagakabouros, which essentially turns the arena into Nagakabouros' realm, which also summons a bunch of giant tentacles. And if you already have some active tentacles, those too get transformed into their giant versions. Though unlike it is in League, here the ability actually has a counter. The moment you get hit at any point, this ability gets interrupted. So again, you have to stay in motion while this ability is up. And I find that really cool. But then, Riot revealed the S3 super, which is basically the ultimate ability. That's right. This is actually the first time we got to see Nagakabouros. Or at least a tiny piece of it. And from the story's perspective, this is awesome. See, Nagakabouros was always thought to be incomprehensible. It is almost a Lovecraftian god that melts your mind. And that's why, for the longest time, Riot always tried to avoid showing it. And its history actually goes way back to 2015 to the events of the Burning Tides. Here, when this event updated the lore of Bilgewater, we got this image. It was simply titled The Bearded Lady. Now remember, this was years and years before we got the official universe website. So all the lore we had to be pieced together by the community. And at that point, we had no idea that this would be connected to Nagakabouros. For a long time, we simply thought that this was a kraken worm. But in fact, later it was revealed that this was an early concept for Illaoi's god, after which we got this image when the universe website popped up. Here we learned that this is how the people of the Serpent Isles imagined this god. And when the universe website was eventually updated again with Pike, it was revealed that the Bearded Lady was indeed just another name for Nagakabouros. So, at the same time, they changed the description of the original image, and now it just seems to be a sea monster. The point is, these were all just early concepts of the god. And it wasn't until the Ruined King game came out that Illaoi got another spotlight. There, and unfortunately this is a bit of a spoiler for the game, our heroes get tested by the god to see if they are even able to fight Viego. However, again, witnessing the god with your own eyes would likely melt your mind. It is an incomprehensible being. So instead of fighting the god directly, we got to fight the avatar of Nagakabouros, a spawn of the god that was supposed to test our will. And let me tell you, what an awesome boss fight that was. By snooping around the internet a bit, you can find the original concept for this avatar, but you can also find some of the earlier ideas of what it was supposed to look like. Anyway, the point is, even this isn't really the god itself, though it was the closest thing to witnessing it. But after that, Legends of Runeterra released Illaoi, who can not only spawn her own tentacles and channel the will of Nagakabouros to destroy the spawns of the Black Mist, but among all the awesome cards, we got a card for Nagakabouros itself. This was the first time we got to see its colossal size. I mean, the massive harrowing ship that was consuming other ships is this tiny thing right here. It really showed us the proper magnitude. But still, we did not get to see its body. Here we can see just the massive tentacles. And even though 2XKO did not show us the full body either, perhaps because it is far more colossal than we may believe, it revealed another piece of this mysterious god. Now, I know, it may be just a few eyes, but already you can notice some cool details here. As the champion sinks below to witness the god, which, again, if this happened to any champion in League of Legends, there is the 99% chance they would be just dead. Their mind would not be able to handle this. But you can see that when the eyes remain closed, it has these lighter green stripes over them. This is actually a really clever design choice, because it explains why all the Buru have those green tattoos over their bodies. These green lines mimic the stripes that Nagakabouros has. I don't know who thought of this, but this is such a cool detail. But after that, there is also a sequence which most of you definitely missed. First, when the eye opens, you can see the green sparks which really underline the magical power. Then the other eyes open to sell the endlessness of the god. Then, when the eye focuses on the chosen one that is being tested, you can see the iris narrow down to focus on the target. Then, for only a single frame, all reality disappears and only Nagakabouros remains. Then, the eyes go black. Then the wrath of the god gets unleashed, which kinda reminds me of the Watchers, but I'm gonna assume those are unrelated. Then the eye gets surrounded by a maw referencing the sea monsters it is connected to. The maw then pulls back and bites down. All of this literally happens in the span of 10 frames. And it is absolutely full of details. I honestly love this so much. And what's awesome about this is that the team definitely rooted this around the canonical universe of League of Legends. We know this because some of the writers who made this universe were later moved onto 2XKO. Which also means there is more of this to come. The team is seemingly not afraid to go wild with these animations. Some of which may be also tied to indirect lore reveals. And that also gave me a thought. Out of all the champions that we know will be in 2XKO, there is one that didn't have their super ability revealed. That one being Jinx, who was part of some of the earlier builds, and I'm just gonna assume they didn't really have any supers back then. So now, when Jinx eventually gets her ultimate ability, I think we all know what scene it will be based on. And there you have it, 2XKO is not even in alpha and it is already presenting some really awesome lore reveals. I honestly can't wait what they come up with next. Though more than that, I can't wait for the game to come out. Not because of the gameplay, but apparently because the Nagakabouros is a 3D model. I can't wait to rip it from the files.